Hello, it's me. Um, I think you could see I'm by a stream. I told you all a while ago that I had found this ravine nearby that was totally dry. I found this, I guess it was in the winter, but it hadn't started snowing yet. I looked at it, I'm like, well, this should be a stream. I don't know why it's not. And then I figured, oh, okay. Maybe it is a stream sometimes, when it snowed a lot or when it's rained a lot. One of those temporary streams, as it were. And yep, that's what it is. So, as you can see, it's flowing gently, I would say. We've had some crazy rain. Have you heard the birds? It's great. We've had a lot of rain and snow. Really weird. I was told that actually it's kind of a little traditional that happens. That April here is occasionally snowy. You hear that? The woodpecker? Oh, it's awesome. And so actually the weather right now is actually a little bit pre-climate change kind of weather. But it's still been weird. Today when I woke up, it was sunny, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I can do some stuff." And it started snowing. I still did some stuff anyway. Hi. God, I need them right now. I'll tell you about that in a second. But so I was helping my man do some cleaning outside, and then I was vacuuming the back of his car, the trunk, and he just finished vacuuming, and there was this white stuff all over the place. I'm like, what? I thought I just vacuumed, so I vacuumed it again. I'm like, oh, it's snowing on me. Yeah. Man, I looked up, and it was completely sunny. So, yeah, that's what it is right now. Kind of see, maybe that looks gray, but there's some blue. Here, let's see if I can show you. Technology is so funny. Anyway, yeah, so it's been a while. I apologize for that. I've been writing. Maybe some of you know this already. It's been about 4 weeks where this has happened, where, like, I just wake up and I'll be drinking my coffee, and suddenly I'm writing an essay, and I don't realize I'm writing an essay. It just happened. A lot of them are kind of short. One of them, it's called The Plague of Gods, which was posted on my Patreon and on Another World. It was like 8,000 words. There's a car coming on the other side of this hill. So you'll hear it for a second. I'm so tired of humans. I'll tell you about that too. Alright, it's gone. Anyway, it's spring here, despite the snow. And you see little bits. Here you can see some trees starting to get their leaves. Others, especially the oaks, are going to take a while longer. And that's okay. But the birds are pretty active. They're done with winter. And that's cool. There's some boar marks all over the place here. Let's see if I can show you. Oh, actually, this is. You can see that muddy kind of place. I don't know. That's where some boars have been. You see a lot of them at the foot of oaks here, as they're trying to get the truffles. I was telling someone, a friend of mine, maybe he's watching this, I don't know. I was telling him, like, when I was in the United States, truffles were like one of those signs of opulent wealth. Oh, no one can eat a truffle. No one can afford a truffle. Instead, there's the chocolate truffles that have nothing to do with truffles, I remember one time I saw a black truffle in a store, and it was something like $800 an ounce. I can't remember. It was absurd. This is in the United States, in Seattle. And last year, I had my first truffle. And actually, since then, I've had a lot of truffles. In fact, 2 of the meals that I ate last week had truffles in them. It's pretty frequent. Sign of opulence, but actually not. as I was telling my friend, there are so many truffles here that cannot be harvested fast enough. Oh, go away, plane. The bird sounds better, yeah? Sorry for the background noise. I can't control it. Anyway, truffles grow so frequently here that, you can't harvest them fast enough. And so the boars end up eating them, and the boar population is pretty intense here, which is cool. So the boars are eating most of the truffles. And then, you can go buy them yourselves. And they're not expensive. It's strange that way. Sure, it's a little bit more than, just buying a mushroom, but it's not expensive. Which, yeah, actually that kind of inspired me to kind of think about like weird like illusions, the idea of like what wealth really is, and certain things that we think are absurdly opulent or whatever, are just opulent in certain areas. For instance, in France, everybody is eating, crazy cheeses that if you were to buy in the United States, they're absurdly expensive and you can't even get them, but you just go to the grocery store and they're there. There's other things. I was mentioning veal. Veal, as you probably know, in the United States, veal is something you're not supposed to eat, or you're told not to eat it, because the way baby cows are raised is pretty awful, and they don't let them live long enough, etc. Veal is kind of something humans have been doing for a long time. If you're keeping cows from milk, they have calves every year, and if that cow is female, then it can produce milk. But if it's male, eventually it will probably be eaten, because you can only take care of so many cows. Of course they could have let them run wild, but then they would have been eaten by wolves. So, and the point of people keeping cows like that was, to survive. And so, veal is kind of a byproduct, as it were, or it's part of, keeping cows from milk. So like in the United States, veal is like, whoa, I can't believe people are eating it. And anyway, it's so expensive or whatever. Here, veal is really cheap. It's cheap because a lot of people are keeping dairy cows. And again, it was one of those symbols, those human symbols of like opulence and wealth and excess and degeneracy and decadence and all of that, when you realize if you just kind of slightly shift your geography, it's just kind of really commonplace, and you don't have to be rich for those things, and you don't, Anyway, so I was saying I was going to tell you why I needed those ravens and all these birds. I've been writing a lot, and the thing I've been thinking a whole lot on is this weird way we mistake our ideology, or we mistake our ideas in our head for the real. Those become real. Especially in the sort of American context of like social justice, etc. We talk about how even though certain categories are not, real, they still have effects, and so therefore they're real, and reality is socially created, etc. And it's not, though. I mean, when we socially create realities, worlds, as it were, but there are millions of those worlds. Billions, actually. 7 point something, whatever, billion worlds. Where what I think about the way the world works, and let's say what my man thinks about the way it works, might be different, but, together we kind of create a compromise, or a concert, I guess, as it were, of our ideas about how the world works. And it might change, like, he might learn things from me and decide that I'm right. I might learn things from him and decide he's right. But ultimately, though, that doesn't affect the reality of the world. Under all of these ideas of how we think the world works, who we think we are, is like a place like this, which, this stream these birds, they exist regardless of what I think about them. You know, I can tell stories to myself about what they are, and they leave my consciousness to some degree when I leave a place like this, but they're still here. That under... Sorry. It's a really weird noise. Sorry. Maybe I'll meet something new. Yeah, it's a boar. Maybe we'll get to meet a boar. Maybe not. We'll see. But that's really cool. Anyway, sorry to be distracted. So that thing exists, whatever that is. I think it's a boar. Exists regardless of what I think about it. Now, I can make stories. I can, say it has certain meanings or whatever. But the thing is, it doesn't exist for me. It doesn't exist for anything but itself, you know? And it doesn't care about my politics, in the end. Now, my politics might change the way I think about it and might cause me to cause more harm to it or less harm or whatever, but these trees, everything here exists completely independent of humanity, which is a terrifying thought if you're thinking about it. I mean, it seems like a normal thought, but when you really get down to it, if you sit there and close your eyes and just realize, holy fuck, the world exists without me. Like, when I die, it will be here. When I was born, it had already been here for a long time. My effect on it, my existence to it, is minuscule. The same way that an ant in our kitchen is kind of minuscule, maybe a little annoying to us sometimes, but that's it. Which can kind of lead you to feel a little insignificant, but at the same time, I find it really comforting because I guess the last few years particularly, I've started to notice that there was places where my politics or my ideology or my beliefs about the world started realizing were just more formed by other humans than necessarily how I wanted them to be formed, or what I really thought about the world, and then also, what I could observe about the world. What really seemed to kind of exist here, which I can't even fully know what it is. But there's always this kind of mismatch. And that mismatch was sort of increasing and increasing and increasing until really recently I just realized, wait, no, these ideas don't work. Not all of them. Some of them are good, but, I think the better way of describing it was these ideas fit in certain contexts, but have absolutely no universal truth to them, kind of the when in Rome sort of idea. So, the politics of human civilization, of societies, of, who is oppressing who and what is innately oppressive and what is privilege and what is, all of those things, those matter when you're in the cities. Those matter when you're in those human milieus, and they only matter because it matters to other humans. But, pretty obvious that trees don't have privilege, and I don't have any privilege related to the trees, you could say, because I can walk around and the trees can't. I'm I don't know, leg privileged, but that's kind of ridiculous. That the point here being that there's this massive world that we keep kind of getting disconnected to because we're so intensely involved in trying to work out human problems. Meantime, we destroy the natural world. We destroy everything else. Not just humans, but, our very world. The world underneath all of this, or beyond all of this, keeps getting destroyed while we have long fights, discussions, strife, wars over our ideas of what people really are. And that I don't even know how to describe how that feels to me right now. False. That's the way to put it. That I was working on an essay this morning. It was another one of those things where I had some coffee, and next thing I know I'm writing. And this poem by W.S. Merwin. He's a fucking amazing poet. Keeps coming back into my head. I used to memorize poems. I started doing that in high school. Like, I was one of those people in English class, like when we got a poem, I was like, wow, this is really cool. I'm going to memorize it because I like the way it sounds. And I have a pretty good memory for things like that. So I have all these old poems in my head. There was a very long time where I could recite from memory all of T.S. Eliot's Four Quartets, which is a very long poem. I probably still could again. I'm not going to try right now. Maybe I'll try later. But this poem by W.S. Merwin. Merwin is super interesting because he was the tutor for Robert Graves's children. Robert Graves is the guy who wrote the White Goddess, which was kind of really influential on some like modern witch pagan sort of stuff. He was a poet, not an historian, so there was kind of this sense where it was, and people were taking it literally, and it's not what the point was. Anyway, W.S. Merwin lived he had a castle in France for a while, because castles used to be really cheap because of the war. Anyway, he was the tutor of Robert Graves' son, I think. So they were friends, both poets. Anyway, so he wrote this poem called The Widow. And it starts, how easily the ripe grain leaves the husk at the simple turning of the planet. There's no season that requires us, masters of forgetting, threading the eyeless rocks with a narrow light in which ciphers wake, and evil gets itself the face of the norm in contrived cities. There's a line in that poem later on that's like, what is it? Not seeing the irony in the air, everything that does not need you is real. That's I guess what I keep going back to. It was in my head while I was writing this essay, which will probably come out tonight or tomorrow. That our ideas of real have no reference anymore to the stuff outside that doesn't need us. The stream does not need me. It will flow regardless of what I fucking do. I can try to stop it, and that'd be an assholeish thing for me to do right now. There's no reason for me to do that. But it doesn't need me. It's real, And not being needed is relieving. We get so much identity actually from, our needs, obligations, desires, all of that. But then realizing outside of us is this real that doesn't need us. Not everything else we're doing, there's a line like, you say this is real and you do not fall down and moan. Before that, you confide in images and things that can be represented, which is their dimension. You require them. You say, this is real, and you do not fall down and moan. I love that. Everything that we create, this is real, I need it. The images and things that can be represented. That's real instead. Anyway, I hope you're well. Sorry, it's been a while for a video. I'll try to be more frequent on this. And if you have not seen these essays, I've been posting them, like cross-posting them on my own blog, and also I'm using Substack now, which I'm just writing newsletters there. so you can subscribe to those. They're free. No password needed. I'm going to make sure that those are always free. For Patreon, there will still always be these long exclusive essays and the videos that you guys get to see first. But this is more like my public, everyone can read it essays. So yeah, go check them out. And I love you all. And I hope spring is great where you are. And yeah, I hope you get to go outside and experience the real. It doesn't need you, and it's okay. And it's better that way. Love to you all. Bye.